afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Monday, March 30. I'm Antonia Atkinson. A special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin. To access financing from Green Climate Fund, JUTC reporting improved revenues. And later in sports, Windies women lose second ODI versus Australia. Now the details. Up first this afternoon, farmers affected by Hurricane Melissa are set to benefit from funding from the Green Climate Fund to get back on their feet. Environment Minister Matthew Samuda made the announcement at a press conference this morning. According to the minister, the approval of the US $50 million climate adaptation project is supported by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO.
Of this sum is indeed grant financing. And this represents not our first, second, or third financed project, certainly from our international partners, but the single largest project that we have engaged thus far by way of grant funding. So we're particularly happy for the support of the FAO, the great focus from Dr. Henry and his team, from Mr. Sweeney and his team in ensuring that this project was brought together in the format that showed sufficient climate additionality to be able to provide the support to Minister Green and his team.
The project titled Adapt Jamaica is aimed at enhancing climate change resilience of vulnerable farmers across 6 parishes responsible for approximately 70% of Jamaica's domestic food supply. Agriculture Minister Floyd Green noted the significance.
At the farm level, this project is designed to be practical, visible, and scalable. So we will look to develop model farms and farm clusters where we will deploy climate resilient solutions to show them work in real time, including things like solar-powered irrigation, reinforced greenhouses that are designed to withstand stronger storms, efficient water management systems such as drip irrigation, especially for our vulnerable farmers. We will have a strong training component and provide access to simple, affordable tools that are focused on rainwater harvesting and water-efficient technology.
Educators are raising concerns about the increase in behavioral issues in schools and how it could impact teachers as well as academic performance. But it is not just Jamaica alone. School violence is becoming a big problem in countries like Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and some other small territories. Kelisha Williams has that story.
Since the start of the year, many Jamaican students have continued to act out in school, and at least one incident turned deadly at the Ocho Rios High School a few weeks ago. At the recent Caribbean Educators Forum, teachers from across the region lament the frequency at which violence is being perpetuated in the classroom.
I don't know if there's been a rise in school violence in Trinidad especially, and if it was always there, but now because of social media we're seeing it. But those sorts of things make teachers a bit scared to go to work. So at some points I thought maybe I could go to another country, but definitely that's no longer on the table for me.
But in many cases, we were told the increase in school violence is making it difficult for teachers to stay in the classroom. Tanisha Wind is a teacher in the Dutch Caribbean territory of St. Eustatius. She believes improper parenting is the problem.
I think a major issue for me personally is I think the role of parenting seems to be shifting onto teachers. I cannot teach your child to be a good person. I am trying to educate your child in mathematics. I am going to reinforce the values that you teach your child. But if you send a child to school without values, you are challenging teachers now to spend time instead of educating. We are now building character, which is important, but we should be reinforcing, not being the original teachers.
In Barbados, school administrators have had to get behavioral therapy training to tackle violence in schools in 2024. Meanwhile, in Trinidad and Tobago, there was a dip in school violence in in 2025 after the police were deployed to many schools, but students took the fights off campus. And early in March, the Jamaican government says it's looking to strengthen the Deans of Discipline program to help address behavioral issues in schools. Going forward, stakeholders say more attention should be placed on research to fully understand what is happening in the classroom.
We realize that we now need to consider assessing students, how they are doing motivation-wise, how they are doing, how their self-efficacy is. It now sets the groundwork, it now starts the conversation, and sometimes the best thing is by starting that, igniting that fire. Once that sets into place, now we can now get a more comprehensive overview of what is happening with our students in the classrooms.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
Managing Director of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Owen Ellington, says the cash-strapped entity is starting to see improvement in its operation. The details in this report.
Plagued by decades of financial losses, Managing Director of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Owen Ellington, says the entity is beginning to see a glimmer of hope. He pointed to what he notes are encouraging indicators of a turnaround, with improvements in the operations, output, and management within the last year.
For the first time, I am told, since the inception of the company, been compliant and current with paying over all statutory deductions to the government. We have done so well financially in terms of management that we have now had our tax compliance certificate restored to the company. So we can do business of certain magnitude without going through third party.
Mr. Ellington says with the introduction of new routes within the Kingston metropolitan region and in rural parishes, revenues are also picking up.
We are seeing an increase, and in recent days, a surge in revenue, notwithstanding the fact that in the last 2 years we've been instructed by the government to cut our fares in half. Our revenues are still up above what they were last year. We are on course, based on information I'm receiving, to surpass revenues earned by the company when we had well over 400 buses on the road in the early 2000s. And I was told by a general manager of a particular depot that the revenues for the last week are higher than they were when the company got 100 new buses in 2024.
The JUTC has in recent times stepped up measures to plug loopholes which have contributed to the company's financial losses over the years. In recent weeks, several drivers were charged for pocketing fares, while there's been a reported decrease in the theft of fuel. Also, on the issue of fuel, Mr. Ellington made this revelation.
We have seen a reduction in the fuel cost of running a bus from approximately $12 million a year to as low as $3.5 million per year per bus, and on average $4.5 million a year.
It's left to be seen, however, the impact that rising fuel costs due to the U.S.-Iran war will impact these numbers. Janella Precious, TVJ News.